Peace, peace, people. Welcome to Yemima's World, the Jelly Moose's Cafe. I am your hostess, Yemima, and it is always good to be black in the land of the living once again. It is a cool Sunday evening here on the East Coast, and it's getting dark early. It's 8:30, and it's already dark, looking like it's 11 o'clock outside at night. And fall is a couple of weeks away. It looks like summer just we just snapped our fingers, and summer just went by. Kids are back in school, and unfortunately, we already have two shootings that have taken place in schools, and something has to change. But let's get into this tonight. So, I want to do a quick review of the movie The Deliverance. Friday was my birthday. Happy belated birthday to me. And I was under the weather, unfortunately, so I spent the day watching movies and taking naps. And this is one of the movies that I watched on Friday, The Deliverance by Lee Daniels. It is on Netflix. And first, let me just say, I think that Lee Daniels is a phenomenal producer, writer, and director. None of his movies mirror each other, meaning it's not the same story over and over again. Now, I have seen some people have said, and these people seem to be Tyler Perry fans, but they have said that Lee Daniels' movies are the same thing, that he does not respect Black women. And some of the movies that he has done is Precious, The Butler, Empire, Star, and the United States versus Billie Holiday. And I'm not sure in those movies which one of those movies, other than Precious, would have really degraded women or have put women in a bad light. I don't know. But it's neither here nor there. We're talking about this movie right now, The Deliverance. So kudos for Lee Daniels for doing a movie that is loosely based on true events. He changed the names of the characters. He also changed the place where the real events took place. And I remember back in the day, I think it was Dragnet. I'm not sure, but it was a TV show, excuse me, that used to come on. And before it would start, it would say something like the names and places have been changed to um, protect the innocent. And I think one of the Law and Order TV shows does the same thing. I think. I'm not sure. But kudos to Lee Daniels for doing that, for changing the names of the people, and also the place. Now, the real story: the family was a family of a mother, her three children, and her mother. Her mother lived in this house, and I believe it was in Indiana. And they went through some stuff, y'all. I mean, some horrible demonic stuff. So yes, this movie deals with demonic forces. But guess what else does? The Bible. The Bible gives you specific instructions on how to deal with demonic forces. So, yes, this movie dealt with demonic forces, and there are so many Christians, Black Christians, that are saying, "Oh, the Lord told me not to watch this here movie. It said it was a whole lot of demonic spirits, and that a portal opened up. This movie done opened up a portal." Now, there have been 1,000 movies, and I'm not like exaggerating, but there have been thousands of movies that dealt with demonic spirits, including The Passion of the Christ. So, why does this particular movie open a portal? I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. But the demonic forces that they were dealing with in this house really took possession of her children. Um, there were instances where the family talks about the youngest boy who really got a hold of him, because he was a child. So it really got a hold of him, and it got a hold of the mother pretty good too, where they actually ended up having uh, two or three exorcisms performed in the house, and none of them really did any good. They ended up having to move out of the house. Um, and I think in 2016, the house itself was demolished because even after they moved out, nobody else moved in, but the grounds was still haunted by those demonic evil forces. Let's talk about the characters in the movie. So first, I want to talk about Glenn Close's character. She played Andrea Day's um, mother. Now, in real life, the character, her mother was not white. Again, Lee Daniels took liberties because this movie is not based on the family, it's based on what happened to the family. So the family could have been any color. It was basically what happened to them, not who they were. So Glenn Close plays the mother, and she's white. Um, and so Tyler Perry, Lord Jesus, help me, Father. So Lee Daniels caught a lot of flack about having Glenn Close in the movie playing the mother. And he said something to the effect of Glenn Close was really the fabric or part of the fabric in the Black community. And her character is. She is. We don't want to believe it. We don't want to think it. But in almost every Black community that's in the hood, that's in the projects or the ghetto or in low income, there is always a white woman that's cosplaying Black women. Trust me, I have worked with many, many, many of them. They are part of the fabric in our Black communities. And the only reason that they get to be part of the fabric in our Black community is because our Black men keep going out and getting them and bringing them there. There are so many women. I can look at a white woman and I can tell you if she's dating a Black man or not, just by her mannerisms, how she's dressed, how she wears her hair. I know that they are dating or married to Black men. And there is a part in the movie where Andrea Day and her character, Glenn Close character is named Alberta, and they have an altercation, one of many. And Andrea tells her mother, she says, you just like any other white woman with biracial children. You just wanted to lay down with that Black man and get you some good, and that's your extent of contributing to the Black community. And it's true. I'm not saying all of them, but it's a lot of them. That all they want is that Black man's DNA, that melanin. And then when they produce these children, they really not caping for the Black community. They ain't really caping for their children. There are a lot of videos on YouTube, online, of biracial children being raised by white mothers that say the same thing. And I'm telling you, I have worked with them and I have seen how they have treated their biracial children. So Lee Daniels putting her, he basically put it in our faces. Yeah, yeah. Those white women that cosplay Black women, marrying and dating our Black men, yeah, they are part of the fabric of the Black community because we let them in. We let them in. So that's that. Let's talk about Andrea Day, her character. Her character was the bold, brash, take no nonsense mother who was raising these three kids. Now, again, it is loosely based on the actual family. So I don't know how close her character was to the actual woman. Andrea Day could have, took some lessons on parenting, but she loved her kids. She just had some issues like most parents do. Again, I don't know how close it was. But it was her in the movie who did not have faith. Her mother, Alberta, had started going back to church and she wanted to take the kids to church. And she talked about, her religion and her faith. And Andrea Day's character didn't want to hear it, And even when things started to happen, her mother was trying to tell her, we have to turn to God. And all the things that Andrea Day's character had been through as a child, she felt like she had been abandoned by God. And so she ain't really want to hear that. But it was her who was the one that had to actually get the demons out of the house. And so people are saying, "Oh, she acted like she was a drug addict or this, that, and the other, and she was the one that expelled the demons," like in disbelief. The same people that like to share the meme, well, God used Moses and he was a murderer, and God used Noah and he was a drunk, and God used David and he was a rapist, and God used this, that, and the other, and he was a this, that, and the other. So you read it in the Bible, you share memes, but then when it's put on screen, you can't believe it. Oh, that's not true. God would have never used her to exorcise demons. And then there's a part in the movie where she's speaking in tongues. She's trying to get the demonic evil forces off of her child. And she begins to speak in tongues. And Lee Daniels talks about when she was doing the scene and she was speaking in tongues, the cameraman wanted to cut. And Lee said, no, this is authentic. Let it roll. And it was authentic because Andrea Day is a professed Christian. And she says that when she prays, when she speaks to God, she often speaks in tongues. So when she was in that moment, in that scene, she just reached into her own faith and began to speak in tongues. And Christians have lost their minds because in this movie, she began to speak in tongues. And the crazy thing that I see about that is she went off script because it wasn't in the script for her to begin to speak in tongues. She did it because it was authentic for her to do that. Whereas most of you that speak in tongues do it on script, meaning you're cued at church when you should start speaking in tongues. So who's the authentic Christian here? The woman on camera or y'all sitting in the pew? Another thing that people are saying about this movie being demonic and opening up portals, my thing is, again, it's based on an actual story. So those events actually happened to a family. My fear is not even my fear, but my question is, if that family went to your church, would you have gone to help her? Would you have done what the Bible says when someone falls ill to call the elders to come lay hands? It doesn't have to be a physical illness, it could be a spiritual illness. So all of you that says this movie opened up a portal, I'm assuming that if they went to your church, you wouldn't have even went and lended a hand. You probably would have never even went in the house. Because first of all, you got to have faith to get rid of demonic spirits. And so you talk about this movie, and if it was real life, as a Christian, you wouldn't have even reached your hand out to even help them. How sad that is. The last thing I want to talk about is on the movie set, Lee Daniels and Monique, who did an excellent job, phenomenal job. I'm so glad to see her and Lee Daniels are back together as friends. I'm glad they did not let what happened in the past to take away their friendship and that they are back working together again. Monique did a phenomenal job, as she always does. And there were some things that happened on the movie set that Lee Daniels said that his sister, who I believe was in the movie, Alberta, Glenn Close character, had cancer and she would go for her treatments. And one of the nurses, I believe, was Lee Daniels' sister. And unfortunately, after the movie wrapped, she was diagnosed with cancer. Lee Daniels said that his dog died during the filming of this movie. Monique said she had to go to the hospital because there was a part of the movie that they were filming where they were using gas for effects and it got into her lungs. And so she had to go to the hospital. And then Lee Daniels talks about how they had a prayer circle on set every single day and that those things still happen. Now, I don't know or understand why people think that a prayer circle is going to stop life from happening. Because if it did, we wouldn't have had these two school shootings in the last couple of weeks. I'm sure you pray over your children before they leave to go to school in the morning. And so if your prayers does not stop this or stop people from getting diseases or stop anything from happening, because prayer doesn't stop life. So I don't believe that those things happen to Monique and Lee Daniels' sister and Lee Daniels' dog, because what they were showing was had opened up a portal. Again, the movie The Passion of the Christ shows the devil himself in the movie taunting Jesus in the wilderness for those 40 days. And guess what happened on the set of The Passion of the Christ? James Caviezel, who played Jesus, was struck by lightning, as other cast members were. He dislocated his shoulder while carrying the cross. His hair caught on fire. So there were some things, and we can't ever forget what happened to Mel Gibson. After that movie, Mel Gibson's whole career tanked. And so you have two movies. Both of them are about Christianity and faith. Neither one opened a portal, but life happened. This movie is not demonic. Does it have demons in it? Yes, but again, so does the Bible. It's a win-win for Christians. If this movie doesn't bring people to Jesus, then I don't know what will. Because if it shows Andrea Day's character, who was so low, who cursed God like Job, but managed to expel this force, this evil from her family, I don't know what will bring folks to Jesus. So please watch this movie. It's a good thriller. It's not a horror movie. It's a good thriller. It's a good faith-based movie. Like a lot of other movies that come out, it's a good faith-based faith-based movie. I urge you to watch it. It's on Netflix. Um, yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Unfortunately, I did read up on where the family was, the real family, and the youngest boy, in real life, unfortunately, he died at the age of 17. There is nothing about how he died. Uh, it just says that he peacefully died in his home, surrounded by his family. And it very well could have been what he went through as a child. Because let me tell you something, whatever that thing was, whatever that entity was, that spirit, it was evil. It was evil. I don't think a portal was open. If anything, the portal that was open is when we have mass shootings. That opens up a portal, because then you have copycats, and you'll have mass shootings. Just like we say death comes in threes, you'll have mass shootings to come, and they'll keep coming. That portal, that's what we need to be praying against. Not this movie, not this movie, but against these shootings. Because that's the real evil that your children face every single day. All right, until next time, you know the drill. Love yourself, love each other. Give yourself some grace, give each other some grace. Stay black, stay healthy, stay positive. Honor your ancestors, and they will honor you. Until next time, family. Peace.